I am past council chair Jody Burmester from Wisconsin, and we are so excited to see all of you this evening. We have an amazing team here to support you tonight, including monitoring the chat is Lion Richard Stevenson and Lion Diane Pitts. Running our tech for us this evening is Lion Wendy Kane. And then we have your own state GET, multiple district GET from Wisconsin, Judy Hatz. And we have Noel from Kentucky, who's a state GMT. So we're excited. We've got a whole group of people here to support you. We also have Tracy Gray from Lions Clubs International Headquarters. She supports this program. And we have one of our other facilitators online as well with us, Liz Crook out of California. So there is a lot of support here for you all tonight to answer your questions and be able to move forward. I wanted to let you know what our agenda is for the evening. We're going to start with the districts reporting out on their assignments. That's going to happen in a moment here. We're going to go into promoting the new club, inviting a new generation, some different recruitment models you might want to look at. Then we're going to talk about recruiting tips and tricks. And then, as I mentioned it before the call started, we have a top recruiter panel with discussion that they're going to share their top recruiting tips. And then you all are going to be able to ask them your questions in the chat and they'll be answering them. So it will be a fun-filled and very, very rapid-paced evening as it was last time. Wendy, can I have the next slide, please? All right. This is a topic, as many of you know, that's really near and dear to my heart, and it's about promoting the new club and how to promote to the new club. So we're going to go through a lot of information here off of this one slide, and I'm going to share some visuals of other resources as well. So let's talk about how you promote the new club, and let's talk first about your target audience. Who are these potential members? Some of you talked about ethnic clubs. You don't need to broadcast market to the advertise or promote to the entire city that you're in if you're trying to reach a smaller segment. So make sure you're targeting your advertising and marketing towards those potential members. Look for newspapers or other publications that work for, or how to reach out to them. Other targets you're looking at are ages. By age, how are you targeting people? Are you looking for younger people? Are you looking for older people? Are there other demographics that are tied into how you need to recruit and who you're looking to recruit to? Maybe it's young professionals, so you're looking at ways to target young professionals. Whomever it is, whoever that target audience is what is going to drive the rest of the marketing for you, because every piece should speak to that target market. Excuse me. So let's talk about some of the media that you might take a look at. And we're going to go through a number of things here. Number one, emails. There is, and we're going to look at a ChatGPT app here in a minute that can help you draft emails, but good old-fashioned emails, and for my world, it's good old-fashioned anyways, emails written to the right people to introduce them to Lions and ask for a meeting is one certain way to get started. You can build your own email list, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Or you can reach out and find their contacts for potential partners and others in the community that you're looking for by Googling it or using the new app I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. Creating social media posts and ads. That is an important part of the process. So social media posts, perhaps it's actually important, and actually, quite honestly, it's very important to create the new club's Facebook page and Instagram account or whatever other socials prior to the club starting. That way you can put information out about club meetings, about club upcoming events, share information about what it means to be a Lion, start building those partnerships by building up the page with followers, with partners, and sharing things from the community. So creating a Facebook page or an Instagram page or whatever social media you're looking for the club is really important in some communities as you're getting ready to start a club. Then making sure you have one of your team members that's monitoring that page and keeping things up to date and sharing information on a regular basis. Also reaching out to other community organizations to build that following. Advertising. I will talk just briefly about social media advertising. That means like buying ads on Google or Facebook or Instagram in this particular instance. And I will mention that it's a bit complex to really get into the full details of buying ads, but there may be some value in putting some money towards buying an ad depending on who you're trying to reach. and which target audience you're trying to reach. And we can talk more about that if you have questions. You can email me at lionjody@gmail.com, and we can work through how you would plan that out if you're looking to start advertising on social media for a club to get it started. I would also like to point out that WhatsApp, Nextdoor, and LinkedIn are great opportunities to take a look at. WhatsApp is a secure online communication app that allows you to talk to people all over the place. You can tie into different WhatsApp groups depending on your community. It's not as common in smaller communities in the United States, so that may or may not be relevant to you. Nextdoor. I mentioned Nextdoor in our conversation last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, as an opportunity for you to get to know the community you're going to be going into to start a club. Nextdoor is also an opportunity for you to promote the new club. Talk about what Lions are about. Share it out with the community that's already on Nextdoor. Nextdoor is an online application that's free that people in the community keep up with each other and track each other and share what's going on and updates and different events that are going on. So Nextdoor is a very good resource to start a new Lions Club because it's free and it reaches a fairly large percentage of the community, depending on which community you're in. If you are looking at a young professionals club well, depending on the demographics, LinkedIn, which is a career networking app, might also be a good app or good social media channel for you to take a look at as to put in place for this new club before the club actually starts. LinkedIn acts a lot like any other social media you're on, with interactions between different people, and you put posts out there and you can invite anyone you'd like to be able to join in and get more information about your club. So those are the types of apps and social media channels you might want to take a look at. If, again, depending on who your target audience is, you may choose to use one or more of those social media channels to get the job done. I strongly suggest you put something in place beforehand on social media, whatever is appropriate, be it Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever it might be, in order to really be able to share the information for the club and get it out there in the community and show that what Lions do. To do that, you are going to have to create an email for the club. The email for the club can be a simple Gmail account, which is free, and they can use that then or change it out once the club gets up and running. When the club gets up and running, you'll turn all of this over to the new club, and it will be available then for them to take over and start running all of their own social channels from there. We're going to have a success story from Jerome Thompson out of Alabama about how they've used social media and Facebook in particular to help jumpstart clubs in Alabama. We'll be watching that and seeing that at the end of our next session. There's always traditional flyers and posters you can put out there. You can create those. We're going to look at Canva here in a few minutes and another opportunity, but you can create flyers and posters and get them out in the community to promote if you're going to do a service event to try to draw people into this potential club, or if you're going to have an informational meeting to get people to come to your event. You can also use things like sidewalk chalk if you have a very high traffic area in your community that you'd like to invite people, and use that to invite them to a meeting or whatever you might want to use. So flyers and posters are still definitely something that's out there. Make sure that you get them on where they're going to stand out and they're not going to get lost on a giant bulletin board. So some bright colored paper, whatever it takes to stand out. You're going to want to use your district website to help this club as much as you can. You know, put a post at the top of your district website saying, hey, we're starting a new club in this community. If you know anyone, please let us know. Or if you're interested, please let us know. And whatever else is appropriate as you're looking to promote the new club on the district website. From a district level, we can support the clubs, these new clubs, by helping with that, because there is not going to be a website for the new club to start with, most likely. You can look, if you want to start a website for the club, but that may be more challenging with your resources that are available. If you have time and have the resources available, starting a district website for the new club would be very well received, because if you look at a website is basically What we used to use is trifold brochures all the time. That's the information site. That's like your new form trifold brochure. Information about what goes on in the club, what goes on with Lions is something you can store on that website, and you can use that to help promote the club as well. There's always community bulletin boards in many communities. There are signs in the community, sometimes electronic signs that you can get information on, all kinds of other resources that are community-based that you should take a look at. And as you're reaching out to these organizations that run these community bulletin boards or handle the signage in the community, make sure to talk to them about Lions. Invite them to be part of the solution in your community to help meet the needs that are there and start a new club to engage as many humans as possible in that community, making a difference. I add business cards to this. So often it is cost prohibitive these days to actually print your own brochures. We're going to talk about a brochure in a moment here that you can get from Lions Clubs International that will help you. But if you have a business card that says on one side all the 8 projects of Lions, the Lions support, and then on the other side is a spot you can write in your name and who you are and print out a number of them in your district and hand them out to all your recruiters. It's a really nice piece for a very low cost to help be able to look professional when you're out talking to people and also have a leave behind that gives them information that they can contact you with. Business cards are very cost effective from a local printer or from organizations such as Vistaprint. The last thing under the media that we've got here right now is talking about your local media, the traditional media, mass media of newspapers, radio, and television. You're going to want to look at creating press releases and getting those out to all of those sources. You're going to want to call the station manager or the news manager at the radio station and the TV station to see if you can get on a talk show on the radio station or a morning news program on one of their morning segments to just talk about the needs in the community and how a Lions Club may help. That is a fantastic means of reaching out to a large audience. It's not very targeted because it goes out to the mass media, it goes out to the masses, but it is a great way to raise awareness of Lions and what you're doing and say that you're looking to start a new club. So media, whatever form it takes in your area and whatever is appropriate for this new club and the community you're in is important to get started with. Keep in mind as you're reaching out to these different media channels and media outlets like the newspapers, radio stations, and TV stations, you're now representing that new club before it even starts. So you're building the basis of the new club's relationship with those media outlets. So make sure to talk to them about the needs and what the club will be looking at doing. And also offer to them to come join your club or the new club, or would the station be or the newspaper be willing to sponsor some of the new club's upcoming service projects that they'll be putting on in the community? Start building those relationships and those conversations and opening up people's minds to the potential. We're going to talk just a little bit about the messaging. And messaging is the words and the images you use on your media and your social media and on your posters and any other media that you create. Again, it's focused on the target audience. If you're talking to young professionals, it's going to be a different message, different words, and put in different ways than if you're talking about starting an early new retiree club. You're also going to want to use words and images that attract them. Words and images that attract them are, people that look like them are on the ads. People that look like them or the words sound like something that they're used to. So it's a really important part of how you go about reaching these audiences is how you craft the message and the images you use. Wendy, I'm going to have you stop sharing a screen because I'm going to show, well, actually, now we'll hold on that for a minute. Let's go on to the next screen, Wendy. I lied, sorry. So those are the way that's how we look at promoting the club. It's not really any different than you look at for promoting a new club, quite honest, or an existing club. All of these pieces work for whether you're starting a new club or are working with an existing club. I wanted to highlight a couple of LCI, Lions Clubs International resources before we go into some external resources for you to be able to craft those messages for those target audiences. First up, on the screen right now, you see what is called the Hello brochure. The Hello brochure is the #1 resource out there, as far as I know myself and from talking to other recruiters, to help start a club. It really covers the overview of what Lions is about. It talks about some of the benefits, how to start a club, and it also gives some general statistics. Generally speaking, you can, well, first of all, you can order these from Lions Clubs International, and Richard's got a link I think he's going to drop into the chat. It's off of the Start a New Club page on the Lions Clubs International website. But this is an awesome opportunity. You hand these brochures out as you walk in and sit down for a meeting, just to have a conversation. And as you're having the conversation, you're able to hear and ask them what's going on in their community. How could Lions Clubs are help? What is the challenges? And the reality is that as they tell you, you can then go to the part of the brochure that fits for that, that is appropriate for that. Again, a great resource that you can order from Lions Clubs International. Richard, it looks like that. Tracy, can you give us an update on when that brochure is going to be updated? I'm not sure if Tracy's still here. I know they were working on updates for that brochure, but I'm not sure where that status is. And I'm not sure that Tracy's, she might have.
Yeah, I'm here. I couldn't find the mute button. It is just getting into production. I'm meeting with marketing coming up here. It's actually on the Q2 plan.
So by the end of second quarter, it should be out next year. Or
in English, it should be out in January. The rest of the languages will follow shortly thereafter. It takes a while for translation.
Perfect. So by January, we should have the new one. In the meantime, there's nothing wrong with having conversations with people using it still and adding in the other areas that are not highlighted on this current version of the brochure. Let's take the next slide, please, Wendy. So these are posters that are PDFs that are printable posters that you can fill in with information about the new Lions Club that's forming, and for more information, who to contact. It is amazing how it does take quite a bit of ink, and hopefully those are being redesigned as well. But if you would like to use them, they're available for download off of the LCI website under the new Start a Club page on the lionsclubs.org website. So that is also available to you from Lions Clubs International. Wendy, next slide, please. This is something that you may have run across in your work already, but this is Canva. Canva is a separate online subscription that is a paid subscription if you are a 501c4 charity, or it's free to 501c3 charities in the United States. It is an awesome resource to be able to create a poster for an upcoming event. And then once that poster is created, it can then magically change it into a social media post. It can change it into a ad for whatever you're looking for. It can, for Instagram, whatever it is you want to do with it, will automatically change it up for you. So this is a fantastic tool for Lions Clubs. And quite honestly, something I believe all Lions Clubs should invest in if they're not a 501c3 charity. It's $120 a year, and it allows you to keep all of your resources in one place and be able to share them out and create professional graphics at a very reduced cost. And it's really a drag and drop program. So that's canva.com that we're talking about. Wendy, what do we have up next on the list here? The next slide, please. Excellent. This is the one I'm very excited to show you. All right, Wendy, I am going to take over now. This time I really am going to take over from you. So Daniel's on the call with us, Daniel Marnie Elkins, and our work through Lions Virtual. Daniel has created a couple of ChatGPT applications that will allow us, and they're customized for Lions Clubs. So we're going to look at both of them as an overview tonight. We don't have a lot of time for it, but we're going to start, and I'm going to show you the apps on the brand on the Lions Virtual from the Lions Virtual website. This is our lionsvirtual.org website, and you'll see here there's Lions Map to Grow and Lions Market to Grow. If you click on, and I'm not going to click on Market to Grow because I already have it open here for us. If you click on Market to Grow, it is going to take you to a brand new predefined, all your questions are here for you. You don't have to figure out how to ask the question. So, oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Excuse me. Well, eventually I'll get there. All right. So here you go. This is Lions Market to Grow. And you'll see that there's 4 prompts here. One of the challenges with using artificial intelligence is being able to ask the right questions of the AI. So Daniel has actually customized this to help all of us be able to do this. So here, this is the first one says, please create a press release from this service report. And when I open this, it asked me to upload a service report. Now, because the internet, I never trust, I'm going to actually show you one that I uploaded just earlier today. And this is actually I went into the member portal. I copied a service report. Sure, it's going to open. I copied a service report directly out of the member portal. I clicked somewhere in it. I hit Control A and it took every piece of it. And it then opened up. Come on. Daniel, are you in a position, since mine is not, apparently my internet is not cooperating here.
Absolutely. Just give me 2 seconds. So what Jody is describing is the ability to take a service report that you literally just copy and paste directly from the Lions portal. You don't need to make any changes. You just copy and paste that service report and be able to actually turn a service report into if we see here, I've got a service report that was turned into me by International Director Joanne Ogden, and I just hit enter. I have not changed a single thing. If you notice, it still has all of the lines. And in an instant, the service report for immediate press release, Lions Club of Northwest Ontario cyber supports pediatric cancer patients with Cuddle Blankets initiative. Here's where it's at. In a heartwarming display of a community spirit and compassion, the Lions Club of Northwestern Ontario cyber organized the Cuddle Blankets project to support children battling cancer. Volunteers handcrafted 15 cozy tie cuddle blankets, which were then distributed to the pediatric ward, offering comfort and warmth. This initiative, part of the Lions Club's ongoing commitment to support childhood cancer. And then it even has a quote, the Cuddle Blankets project is more than just providing warm blankets, says Joanne Ogden, organizer of the event. It's about giving these children a sense of comfort and security. I've trained the GPT language model to be a professional marketer that has been trained on how to write a press release to help support Lions International. If you note, it got all of that from literally 15 tie blankets were created, the fact that it was a childhood cancer cause, and how many hours were volunteered. But wait, there's more. Because at the exact same time, it will also create you a Facebook post, complete with emojis that you can just copy and paste the Facebook post. And wait, there's even more. It
And
can
add
create
photos.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And in Instagram post, which is written to be in the way that Instagram goes. And it will also create you an instant poster as well. But the best part is what I like is at the end, it says, would you like a list of media contacts to send the press release to? And I'm just going to put in Wilmington, Delaware. If so, please provide your location and I can assist with that. So it guides me, and in less than 30 seconds, it gives me the direct contact and websites of all of the places to send the press release to. Now, could you imagine if every service report that was filled out by a Lion, someone did copy and paste and clicked 2 buttons and turned it into a press release where we promoted our service with everything. We will be the most well-known service organization in the world if we do that. And it's just as easy as copy and paste and hit send on an email.
Well, and above and beyond that, Daniel, and Daniel, thank you for sharing that since, and telling the story, because this is an amazing tool that Daniel's created for us. Because for so long, we haven't known how to put those words together. We haven't known how to put it together. So the other side of it is, if you don't have a service report, you can go in and type all of that in. As a matter of fact, I had it all prompt up. So I think, let me see if here we go. I'm going to take over screen share from Daniel here. If you don't have a service report, it says, it looks like you've uploaded an image file, likely a logo, rather than a service report. To create a press release, I would need these details. It says what kind of event, who helped or benefited, how many volunteers participated, where and when did it take place, any notable stories or quotes from the event. And if you type all that in, it will do the exact same thing Daniel just showed you, and then spitting out a press release. It will also then give you a Instagram and or a Facebook post and an Instagram post. And you definitely need to add in photos and make sure that their photos are of your lions having fun, interacting with the community. No more grab and grin, grip and grin, or whatever the heck those posters are, with just a bunch of people standing there like this, handing checks off to each other. We got to stop that. We need to show our lions in action. So it's a fabulous and fantastic tool for you to be able to go forward with. If I can get this, go back to the original, you can also just go ahead and create a Instagram post, a Facebook post, or a poster if you just want one or the other. But the way this first one works is so simple, and you get all of them. It takes, as Daniel said, less than 30 seconds to get it all over and done with. So thank you, Daniel. It is a huge and amazing resource for all of our members. And we're going to talk about tomorrow night. We're actually, you guys are some of the first Lions to see this, by the way. Tomorrow night, we're having the Join the AI Revolution launch party. So we'll be inviting you to that a little bit later on in the show, or in the event or the training, whatever we're doing tonight and whatever we're doing. So that is a huge and a very exciting tool for us from a marketing standpoint. You don't have to be a marketer to get the job done. The system does it for you. Wendy, can we go back and start sharing and talk about, we're going to switch gears from promotion to talking about how we recruit. So Wendy, I will take up that slide on the recruiting wheel. As you're looking at this slide, some of you have been around for a while, and this recruiting wheel is going to look really, really familiar. I think I've been seeing this recruiting wheel since I first joined Lions over 30 years ago. And the reality is the recruiting wheel works. What this is a list of people by area that you and other Lions might know. And it helps people think about who they know and who might be a list to help create a list of potential members. Anything from local professionals to people you do business with and colleagues, community leaders, relatives, friends, neighbors, religious affiliates, etc. So oftentimes when this has been used in the past, this recruiting wheel has been used by an individual club to have people fill things out and share that information. From a club start standpoint, and even in a local club to rejuvenate a club, you should be reaching out to other Lions in the district to find out if they know people in this community that might like to join a Lions club. By the way, so if we go in at the bottom of this, there's a tip to use the Just Ask guide. It's a great resource available on the Start a New Club webpage for you if you're looking for more tips and tricks. All right, Wendy, next slide, please, because I want to show you a resource that we created specifically for this collection of data. It's so hard to collect data and ask people to send an email to whomever it will be. So what we did is we created a Google form, and I think Richard's going to drop that link into the chat so you can access it. The Google form is very simple. It basically says, who would be a great Lion? Maybe I'll take this over and I'll show you the screen. Because as long as, when you go ahead, don't lose, Wendy, I'm taking over, but you might have to come back if my screen freaks out again. So it basically, and this is in the design mode, so let me look at it in this mode. It basically asks your name and email, your club, and I think I have to fill this out to get this to work. Oh, and your name and your club, and then it says, who would be a great Lion? It gives an opportunity for you to name prospects. And if you would then, where do you know them from? This was for a specific club. You can list out the clubs you're starting or looking for interest from, and then asking if you can use their name when contacting this prospect. When you get all said and done with this, it builds out a spreadsheet that you can sort however you would like and allows you to have a list of potential contacts in that community directly from Lions. Makes it not a cold call anymore. It makes it a lukewarm call. So this tool is available to all of you. Richard just dropped it into the chat with the link, and you can feel free to download that and adapt it to whatever you'd like. If you need help with how to adapt a Google form, please reach out and I will walk you through it. I think we might actually create a simple a short G-form how-to that we'll put on the inspiration site as well. Yes, you can use JotForm or any other form or any other application like that that's going to get you the information. The key is that you get it out to as many people as possible who might know someone that lives in the community that you're trying to start a club in. Because I don't know about where you guys come from, but I'm amazed at how many people are cousins and second and third generation cousins and all of that when I start talking to other people in our own district here. So this is a great opportunity for you to be able to use this simple technology to gather information that allows you to get into a community maybe faster and maybe find that spark, that one lion that's going to take this club and take it from we're just here to be launched into a full-blown entity. So that is one of the resources that we've shared with you, and you can, again, use whatever resource you'd like with that. That is the recruiting wheel. And as you look at what we've done in the past, that's really how we work, right? We look to we look for references and people that we might know, and then we just go, or we go into a community and we just start knocking on doors and stopping at businesses. Right now, Wendy, if you want to go to that next slide, we're going to share a video that Daniel did for us because Daniel is one of the top recruiters in the country. And Daniel's done it in a very unique way. He's also started many clubs, and he's going to share with you a different model of starting a club. It's called asset-based community development. So Wendy, do you want to hit play on that slide or that video, please?
Well, hello, Lions. My name is Lion Daniel Marnielkins, and today I'm here to talk to you about asset-based community development, the ABCDs of how to build and grow membership in Lions. What is the core of the concept of asset-based community development? It's based on foundational truths. The foundational truths are: 1, everyone has gifts. 2, everyone has something to contribute. And 3, everyone cares about something, and that passion is his or her motivation to act. Now, when you talk about asset-based community development, you are talking about an asset-based approach to community. This is different from the needs-based approach that Lionism has been built on for the last century or so. You all know the saying, where there's a need, there's a lion. And a needs-based approach focuses on the deficiencies. It focuses on what's wrong in a community. Now, people are the consumers of your service, and community members observe as issues are being addressed. When you talk about a community needs assessment, you are looking at what the needs in the community are. Now, an asset-based approach is focusing on the effectiveness, the potential skills and talents and passions and resources that exist within a community that could be motivated and recruited to help spread Lionism and grow service within that community. With an asset-based approach, community members participate and are empowered. So how do you use this theory to help charter new clubs, revitalize old ones? Well, it starts with asset mapping. Asset mapping is the process by which you look at a community and you begin to list out all of the potential assets within that community, whether or not it's local nonprofits that you could potentially partner with, whether or not that there's a local library that you could potentially base a club branch out of, whether or not it's that you have a number of schools that you could put in a Leo Club at. These are all the potential assets that you could be using to revitalize Lionism within your area. Taking the asset approach means listing out all of these things and developing a contact list that you begin with in order to build the structure for growth in that area. Where there is an asset, there is a future Lion. Asset mapping and the process of listing out these places is a fairly simple process to do. There's an app for it, and I believe you'll learn a little bit more about that during this presentation. But also, you can just go to Google and Google what are the local nonprofits in my area. Google what are the organizations that serve youth in the area or serve homelessness or any one of our areas that we want to focus on. You can begin to pinpoint and target, which gives you the opportunity to be able to reach out to these people and activate what they are already doing and already passionate about. I did asset-based mapping in my community, and I found that one of the assets we had was a young man who was an artist. And I asked him what he was passionate about. And he said he was passionate about art and teaching art. And so I pulled out a Lions Club application and I said, excellent. That's exactly what we do. And because we were willing to adapt and change and use the asset-based approach, that became what we did as Lions. And he is now in the process of working on chartering an entire artist club for our community. Asset-based community development. There's a map that will lead us to the promised land of increased membership. You just gotta use it. Thank you very much for listening. And if you need to know more, feel free to reach out and I will answer any questions that you have. Well, hello.
I love that whole concept. You know, we, as Daniel mentioned, we've always been focused on needs-based and not assets-based. Assets came after the fact. So we needed an accountant to help us get our treasury done. We needed someone to help us market. So we would reach out to a local advertising agency or sales rep or whomever it might be from the media. The cool thing about asset-based community development is it focuses on the skills that exist in the community. And I summarized Daniel's points here because this is a very different way of looking at things. So it focuses on the skills that exist in the community, potential skills, talents, and resources. What is out there? And then you go in and list those assets, whether you use the app I'm going to show you here in a minute from the Map to Grow app, or if you go out to Google and Google it yourself. But you develop a contact list. And I love this quote, where there's an asset, there's a future Lion. If you look at every person you meet and ask them and look at what their assets are, and then help them achieve their goals, you are over and done with. We've got a club in our area that's done that. They used to be at like 40 members for years and years and years. They started, instead of just saying, here's what we do, they went out and asked other people how they wanted to serve, and they helped them do it. Exactly what Daniel's talking about in just an informal fashion. You determine the asset's passion, and that asset's passion becomes part of the club's passion. It's a very different way of looking at it, but it's very effective because you're helping someone achieve what they want to achieve. Wendy, can I have the next slide, please? A couple of other pieces that Daniel didn't have time, because they only gave him 5 minutes, didn't have time to cover in that video is, I just want to touch on them, is actions speak louder than words. As you're looking to start a new club, as you're looking at asset-based community development, you show who you are through service. creating a service project in the community before you even start the club, whether it's children's vision screening or a park cleanup where you invite the community in, whatever it might be, is important. You show who we are instead of telling them who we are. You work under the principle of in partnership with. You're always looking to partner with other organizations to help them reach their goals and help us reach ours. And in partnership with helps grow both organizations beyond where they could be on their own. There's a way to look at coalition models for clubs where you bring all these different assets together from different community organizations, and they all work together to bring their assets in and then solve the community's challenges that they're looking to reach or need to tackle. And the last part of this, and Daniel touched on this as well, is community needs evolve, so must our service. By taking this asset-based community development approach, you're automatically going to be evolving based on the needs of the community, because you're inviting new people in to the community that are then sharing with you their passions and what the needs are that they perceive, and that then becomes our service and keeps us fresh. Asset-based community development works, and it's a different way of looking at things, and it's actually an opportunity, I think, for a lot of our areas. Instead of going in and saying, hey, we're going in from the needs base, by looking at the people, finding the right key people, and then working with them on what they want to do, and helping get the job done. So keep that in mind. Asset-based community development. All right, Wendy, next slide, please, which I think I'm going to take over from you again. And we're going to talk about Lions Map to Grow. Last week, we were actually, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, when we were together, we were talking about being able to understand who was in your community and what needed to be done, what those resources were and everything else. And I showed you a prompt where we went into a community in Kentucky, I believe, and we had it pull out all the demographics and who to reach and who the potential specialty clubs were and all of that. Well, again, we now have an app for that that's based on ChatGPT. You don't have to understand all the questions to ask, because Daniel has been kind enough to program them in for us. The first question is, where do you want to grow lions? And the second is, would you like to do asset mapping? Then would you like to market lions? And would you like help with recruitment? We don't have time to go into all of these tonight. They'll be highlighted tomorrow night, and there'll be a video to show you how they all work. But I do want to show you how it works when you're looking at where do you want to grow lions. And I'm going to pick Merrill, Wisconsin, if I can type correctly. And it's going to ask me then, it prompts me again, and it says, would you like to charter a new club or rebuild an existing one? I want to start a new club, a new specialty club. Oops, I typed club wrong. Let's see what it does. Hey, look, it didn't care that I wrote cub. So, local demographics. So it should give me some local demographics. I can go on and it asks me a number of questions, and I can pick out what I'm looking for. It will spit out a SWOT analysis for me, so I can understand the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in a community. And my computer is going incredibly slow, so I'm not going to keep playing in here very much longer, because it's not going as fast as I was like. The internet is does make a difference. But all of these tools are available to you very quickly by just typing in where you're at. And you can answer any question you need to. It takes all of the work out of the background research, the site research. And as we looked at before, this asset-based community development we were just talking about, you're looking for assets regardless of which model you choose. Come on, if I can get my lap, everything to, it does not want to go there. Daniel, I'm sorry to keep calling on you, but my system is really not liking the internet up here.
It's okay. So you want to go to the Map to Grow app here?
Yes, please. And can you
And then
just show them how it's, what
Yes.
the, thank you.
Absolutely. And for those who cannot see the screen, because I see a couple of people who are having issues, I'm going to try and do this so it'll be a little bit easier. But you can just go directly to the app yourself and put in your own area. So we're going to start with, where do we want to grow lions? And then it very specifically asks where and if you want a new club or rebuild. Depending on what you say, you'll get different information. Now, there's a lot of shared similarities between the skills needed to rebuild and to grow, but we're going to focus on new. And let's just let's look at Knoxville, Tennessee, and then I'm going to put new club, right? That's all I have to do. And it'll instantly give you your demographics, which you need. It will then do the asset mapping and begin to identify partners and give you the contact information on those partners. It will do a tailored SWOT analysis for Knoxville, which is doing a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats based off of specifically starting a new club here. And then it gives you next steps. Would you like help drafting outreach letters to local organizations or potential members? I can also assist in planning the initial community meetings. Or would you like to do recruitment practice? And just very quickly, I'm going to put United Way outreach, because United Way was one of the partners that had identified outreach plan, and I can put plan in it, right? Or just outreach letters. So it instantly begins. If I put plan, it will put in this entire process of how you actually reach out to form that partnership. And it will also give you a draft of the letter that gives you reasons why that you should partner and do all of that. It will talk you through all of these things. The other fun part about this is you can actually go back to the top of the Lions Map to Grow and do this with asset mapping. It'll give you more details. And if you would like help with recruitment, it'll even give you role-playing scenarios. So I can say help with recruitment, and I want to say help with recruiting young professionals. And it'll give me examples of what types of things that I need to say. And it says, do I have a specific location? Sure. Let's go back to Knoxville, Tennessee, and new club, right? TN and new club. And then it will tailor all of this to the SWOT analysis, also right back into the asset mapping, but then to tell you how to talk to the young professionals. So this is an app that you can access right now. It's live. We'll go into detail tomorrow night on our AI training. Is that all you needed, Jody?
That's perfect, Daniel. Thank you.
Oh yeah, but just look here. So here's your developing your recruitment conversation. Ask about their passions. Listen for what excites them. Emphasize network and leadership. Talk about flexibility, and it will even allow you to role play out scenarios and give you advice on your recruitment pitch.
Daniel, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is an amazing, it's just remarkable. And that was all there before, but you had to know what questions to ask. You had to be able to steer the right prompts to be able to get there. And if you didn't ask, every time you asked it differently, it would give you something slightly different. So by Daniel taking the time to create that custom Lions Map to Grow, which is to help grow our membership, Market to Grow, which is to help market our Lions clubs, which also obviously grows membership, is just huge. This is revolutionary. If we can all get our clubs to start sharing our stories through marketing, press releases, after events pieces, in advance pieces, if we can get all of our clubs to start using the right way to ask people to join, and we are doing worthwhile service in our community, we don't even have to have these training sessions because it just happens. It's magic. It all works. So it's fantastic. It's just really, really, it's cool. So as you can tell, we're a little excited about this. We're going to share in the chat, and I think I've got it later in the slide deck. Or Richard, can you share in the chat? Tomorrow night we are going to be doing a launch party for the 2 apps tomorrow night. And we will be doing a lot more detail, going through all of the prompts and all of the invitations. And it will also be recording the session. It'll be available on our Lions Virtual YouTube channel after the fact if you can't make it. So to get there, though, again, you simply go to lionsvirtual.org. You click on whichever app you want to go to, and you can just start using it right away. All right, Wendy, let's go to the next screen because we're going to change our gears slightly. Because I wanted to give you some tips and tricks on talking to recruiting or talking to millennials and Gen Z, younger generations. You know, I've heard for years that you can only recruit people 10 years younger than you. You can only yada, yada. There's always you only. And what I found is that's not really the case. As long as you understand the needs of on a generational level, and then talk to people about their passions, as we've already talked about, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old they are. It all works. So let's take a look at some tips at recruiting millennials and Gen Zs. And this really comes to how we also will support a new club, right? So when we're talking to millennials and Gen Zs, it's really important that volunteering be convenient and flexible. They aren't always available to show up at a meeting, whether it be a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting. They may want to pop in and out. They may have things that happen in their work life that take them away for 6 months. So it needs to be convenient and flexible in the way they want to meet and the way they want to serve. It also, and we talked about this already, needs to align with their values and passion. They are very value driven in millennials and Gen Zs. And by the way, these are obviously all just broad strokes, and every generation has their own things. But as we look at this as a generation as a whole, these are the tips for the different generations. So what we're looking at needs to align with their values and passions. So as we are out talking to them, understanding that that's important to them, it's not all about the prestige of being a Lion or necessarily the business networking. It's really about aligning and giving them an opportunity to serve that meets their values and the passion that they have to serve. They want to be involved in the creation and decision making. They're not coming in just to be manpower because our rest of our members are too old to do the work anymore. They want to be involved in creating and deciding how the club is going to operate. We need to give them their space to do that. They want to be recognized for their work, and they like to be rewarded for it, for their contributions. What have they done? You know, a pat on the back for everyone. This isn't just their generation, by the way. This is all of our generations. Like to be recognized for what they've done and get rewarded by through the recognition for whatever that might mean to the contributions they've made to the club and to what's going on in the club. And last but not least is to build an inclusive and welcoming culture. Lions is a non-political, non-religious association. With some of our clubs, many of our clubs, our more senior clubs, have a prayer at the beginning of their meeting, which is a religious aspect, and it is not necessarily something that works for all clubs. So as you're looking to start a new club, don't assume they're going to have the same trappings as their current Lions clubs, be it a prayer, be it vest, be whatever it might be. You need to allow them to build an inclusive and welcoming culture that's going to welcome all people into the organization and into the club so that they all feel comfortable and that they feel valued as a Lion. Wendy, I think we can go on to the next slide then. Okay, so how many of you, and I can't see you all, but you can all nod and smile when I say this. How many of you remember elevator speeches, that one size fits all speech that focused on what Lions do? Lions are men and women who make a difference every day, everywhere, with more than 1.4 million members in over 200 countries or geographic areas, blah, 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 blah. They've checked out by the time you say Lions are men and women who make a difference, because it's all about that version of the elevator speech is all about us forcing on them before we even know what they want, who we are. So I beg you to throw out that concept. That information is really great information to share when they're being inducted into the club, when they're being oriented about what it means to be a Lion. But it's not the first thing we talk to them about when we're trying to bring them into the organization. This goes back to, again, what we were talking about with asset-based community development, and it doesn't matter if you're using asset-based community development, referral, whatever you're doing. Let's talk about the what, why, and how approach. You ask the potential member what they're passionate about. You talk about why it's important, and then you tell them how they can use their skills to meet that need through Lions. Very much what Daniel was talking about in that video we were just looking at. I've got another example that Daniel's club has done a fabulous job of using asset-based community development. And this video that we're going to share next is going to really show you how it all comes together when you use the what, why, and how approach that Daniel's been talking about during the asset-based community development, and then here in this video. So Wendy, take it away.
Hello world, my name is Lion Daniel Marnie Elkins, and I'm here today to talk about all the amazing things that you can do as a part of a Lions Club. Did you know that Lions, we're going green? We focus on the environment. We do everything from doing community gardens to service at community centers. In fact, Lions can do anything that they imagine when it comes to serving their community. We have a saying, it's called your club, your way. And most people's perception of what a Lions Club is based around potentially people sitting at meetings and, you know, maybe fundraisers, but what the core of everything that we do is service. In fact, if we look right over here, this is the Bellefonte Lions Club. And this is a Bellefonte Lions Club meeting. We do service at our meetings. And you can see we are sorting clothing for the needy. So our club meeting is actually doing service, trying to help others. And so we have club members and we have Leos, and we're sitting here and we're sorting clothes to be able to donate to families in need. We're outside, it's a beautiful garden. We got people who are working on lots of different things. We have a committee down here that's making bookmarks to put into books with positive messages on the back of them so that people can find them and see the amazing work that Lions do. In fact, Lions can do anything. It's just about what you're passionate about. And if you take the time to ask people what they're passionate about, you might discover that they want to join your club. In fact, hold on a second. Hello.
Hi,
What's your name, sir?
Louis Neverett.
And Louis, what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about making movies.
You're passionate about making movies. Would you be willing to help make movies for our community to raise awareness about the service projects that we do?
Of course I will.
Okay, then could I get the club's attention, please? Hey, we have someone who's about to join our Lions Club, and so if I could ask right here, we are going to make Lion Louis a member of the world's largest service organization. And you are joining a global family with 1.4 million members in over 200 countries in the world. That is changing the world each and every day. And you're willing to do that by helping make videos to raise awareness about the importance of serving our communities?
Oh, you know it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Can I get an awesome? Woo! Welcome to the family.
Changing the world.
We serve.
Sure.
Now, before we go into the recruiting panel, here, I want to say something about how Daniel's Club operates. Daniel's Club started as a branch club of the parent club and went from a very small number of members. I think it was 5 to 10 members. And Daniel, you can clarify that if I'm wrong, and they're at 160 some members. They have branch clubs that they use. They're kind of a magnet/feeder club. Branches that stay on forever, branches that come in to form and then spin off into their own Lions Club. They have used asset-based community development to build a membership that allows them to bring someone like Louis in, bring others like with those assets. What are their assets? They bring them to the table and all of a sudden their club can create videos like that because they have that asset. Louis has that passion. He can help them create those videos. Asset-based community development and focusing on the what, why, and how is key to inviting a new generation. And quite honestly, it's key to inviting any generation to join us because everyone wants to give back. They want to feel good about it. And if you understand what their needs are and what they want to do, it's a heck of a lot easier to bring someone in, number one, and number two, you know what it's going to take to keep them because you're helping them realize their passions. So get rid of the elevator speech that says we're 1.5 million members, 4 million members. And by the way, did you hear where Daniel used that? It was part of the induction ceremony. That's where that belongs. If you get into a discussion where they ask questions, great, answer the questions, but that is not where we start. When we start there, you've already turned people off and they're off onto the next thing on their list and not paying attention anymore. So anyways, thank you, Daniel, for sharing all of your talents and your assets with us as Lions and sharing the story that your club and the beauty of what your club has done so we can all learn and aspire to be more like the Bellefonte Lions Club. It's been a long day, I guess. All right, next up, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to bring a couple of people on the screen. I'm going to do this not in the order that it is. 3 of the top recruiters in the United States are Daniel, Winston Ceballos out of New Jersey, and Richard Stevenson, who's also here on the call with us from Arizona. So Richard and Daniel were able to join us in person tonight, and I'm going to bring Richard on the screen. I'm going to, Wendy, can you stop sharing? Thank you. I'm going to bring Richard up on the screen, and I'm going to replace my spotlight. And Richard, how have you recruited? How have you been so successful in all you've done with recruitment? And any other tips you might like to share with the attendees tonight? By the way, when we're done with all these tips and tricks, we're going to have that Q&A with you all. So drop your questions in the chat, and we'll be sharing them with Richard and Daniel live when we get done with their presentations. Richard, welcome.
Thank you so much, and good evening, Lions. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is introducing new Lions to our service and our community. I have to tell you, last week, I joined a 23-year-old young lady into our club, and I'm 78 years old, and I did it online, never even met her in person. And how did that work? Well, we have something called, do you want to recruit? Are you ready to recruit? Have you done the things necessary to be able to run with it when you're ready? And a number of those things were covered tonight, but I'd like to cover some of them over again, if you don't mind. One of them is to have a target market. Figure out who you want to recruit. Just starting out wandering about isn't the way to go. You have to say, here's the projects we're going to work on, here's the people we want to recruit. And in our case, what we did was we said, we want to deal with children. We chose a Title I school district in our community. And we said, we're going to focus on that school district. And the way we're going to get started is with vision screening. And that allowed us to know immediately who we wanted to start recruiting. And who was that? It was the people that were already there in the school district. So what we wanted to do was to get in a community assessment. We already had one. We knew we had the kids there. We knew these were needy kids in need of a number of different things. We built an image and we went on social media and we had our Facebook page set up. We have our eClubhouse set up, and at least the Facebook page is something you can do in advance of forming a new club. And we started to reach out to those people in the community. Now with AI, my goodness, how easy could that possibly be? I used to have to go to the website of the school district and look up every single principal, every single board member, every single teacher, every single librarian, get their emails, use their emails to find their Facebook page. Once I found their Facebook page, reach out and make them friends. Once they were friends, start linking them into our posts for our service. Now you can do an awful lot of that with AI, so that's great. And so we've set up our social media first. We have an app on our eClubhouse page that allows you to join online and allows you to pay online. We have a QR code that I can put on a business card and hand to somebody that takes you right to that page. So we don't have to do any messing about, and we have an image that looks professional and I hope a little bit younger than 78 years old, if you don't mind my saying that. So when somebody's looking for us, this young lady happened to be looking for a Lions Club in Tucson. She found our club online. She found me. She connected with me and she said, you know, I was a Leo a while ago in Mexico and I'm here at the university. what can you tell me about your club and what you do? And I said, well, here's our Facebook page. You can go see several years of history of what it is we do. Here's our internal Facebook group. This shows us what we're working on. And here's our e-clubhouse, and it shows you how to join. Would you like to join? And she said, yes. So the first time I met her was at a service project earlier late last week. And we brought her in, and that was that. I have to tell you, I've joined over 10 members online without meeting them in person. How was that possible? Well, these are school nurses. Well, once you're a school nurse, I don't need to do a background check on you. I already know who you are. Well, I went looking for you. And so we find our potential members, and with AI, that's going to be a dream. So if we're starting a new club, I'm going to go, and I just did this, and I said, okay, who are the city council persons? Who are the county supervisors? Who is the dog catcher? Who are the librarians in the school district, and what are their contact information? And then I can start communicating with them online and getting the conversation going. So and I hope one of the things I want to sell is my excitement and the service projects we're doing. And to just make a comment, it was said earlier, I wrote that down. What was it? Show who you are through service. Perfect. And how do you do that? You take a photo, and if there ain't no photo, it never happened. And so you blast that out. And the interesting thing is, when I first started, I was recruiting via email and Facebook, and now it's over text and Messenger. So things changed, and you have to keep up. I hope I didn't go over my 5 minutes. I hope I didn't get too excited there, but that's just a little bit of the way we recruit. Thank you.
Richard, I love your excitement. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to bring you back on the screen in a minute, but first of all, we're going to give Daniel a couple of minutes here to talk about anything he'd like to add to all of the other recruiting information he's already shared with us. Daniel?
All right. So I want to do something very simple. Okay. So I have a question, and we are going to teach everyone here how to teach everyone they know how to recruit in a very simple process. And it uses no acronyms, I promise. So, Jody, do you play violin?
No.
Okay, so what would happen right now if I gave you a violin and asked you to perform for all these wonderful lions?
They would be logging off very quickly.
It would sound like you are what, strangling a cat, maybe? Right. So they say practice makes perfect. They say practice makes permanent. They say it takes 10,000 hours of practice to become an expert at anything. So why do we expect membership recruitment to be any different? When's the last time you practiced? I can tell you, I practiced about 3 hours ago when someone made the mistake of asking me what I do. There you go. I'm off to the races and practicing, asking them about what they're passionate about and how I can connect that to service in our community. So it's a very simple thing. Can I see a show of hands? Raise your hand if you know someone in your community that you respect as a human being who's not currently a lion. Okay? If your hand didn't go up, either you have no friends or everyone you know is already a lion. Everyone knows somebody, though. So all I'm asking is for you this next week to pick up the phone and call the person that you thought of. Because whether or not you realized you did it or not, consciously or subconsciously, when you were asked if there was someone that you respect as a human being who lives in your community who's not a lion, you thought of someone. Call that person and tell them, you know, I was asked to think of somebody I respected as a human being, and I thought of you. I just have one question for you, because I respect you so much. What do you think one thing we could do as volunteers to improve life in our community? And when they tell you whatever that one thing is, you say, excellent. That's exactly what lions do. Would you allow me to help you do that? Do you want to join the family? What's the worst that's going to happen? They say no, right? However, you've done an act of service. In today's day age, mental health is a really important thing. And I don't know about you, but it would make my day if someone called me and said, you know, I respect you as a human being. What do you think we need to do to help better our community? In an instant. We're not asking you all to go out and form 50 clubs. But if every single person did this thought experiment, because it's that easy, and all 64 of us on this call in this next week committed to calling one person that we know that we respect as a human being who's not a lion and inviting them out for a cup of coffee, well, I think we'd have 64 new lions in the world. And that, it's just a simple matter of practicing violin.
Daniel, brilliant as always. Don't turn your video off, buddy, pal, friend of mine. You get to be on for the Q&A here in a second. I'm going to add Richard into the fun and games. I just want to highlight what Daniel just did, because so often we are scared to talk to our friends and family. You're afraid they're going to say, "Oh my God, it's Jody. She's always talking lion stuff or whatever." But I think we need to look at it differently. The way Daniel was talking about lions is the way we all should be looking at it, right? It's not about, you're giving them this gift, this opportunity to make a difference. And I so often think we don't go about it with that kind of concept. So I have a couple questions in the chat for you, but I'm going to ask one that I have not seen dropped in there yet. My question for both of you is, how do you handle the dues questions? How do you bring up dues? How do you explain the dues and go through that? Because I know that I get that question all the time, but I'm curious to hear from two of our best recruiters. How do you handle the dues conversation?
Well, I guess I'll go first. I'm attempting to recruit some folks who, like the student today, that's half price. And the $35 fee is kind of a put off. So we find a way to fund that through the club. So when I'm talking to this young lady I was talking to today, I explained exactly how much it would be to join, which is half, and it's only for the second half of the year, and so many dollars. And then I said how much it would be per quarter after that. And you can pay online, which is another benefit we have. So yeah, you have to talk about it and you have to be open about it, but I wouldn't make it overly complex. We try to keep our dues as low as possible. It's a nice round number, $40 every 6 months, and not get into too much detail.
And to add on to that, we keep our dues at the lowest possible. And so for us, that is a $65. So that's our international, and then of course our district multiple district, and we set it that low. And we just work other ways to raise administrative funds. We're not taking it out of the members. And so when I'm recruiting, I very specifically point out that with membership comes access to a limited liability insurance policy, that because of our collective bargaining of all of the lions in the world, we've got a pretty good, an expensive limited liability policy that will protect people when they're volunteering, which is something that they need. On top of that, I also then point out the fact that we are an all-volunteer organization all the way up to our international president, and the fact that we have dues allows us to have an incredible professional staff that can help support us in what you need to run a global organization. And then that allows every dollar we take as donations through LCIF to go back directly into the community. But interestingly enough, the subject of dues tends to go in almost reverse, because we have now gotten to the point with the asset-based development and a coalition model where we invite people to join a community coalition, which is a service project of our Lions Club. And it's a coalition that is dedicated to serving youth in our community. And there's no cost to join the coalition. You just join the coalition, and we meet once a month, and we keep minutes to our meeting. And we have a coalition that started with one Lion and it's now about 85% Lions. And we're not asking them to join us. They're asking us. We no longer have to do the hard sell. We ask people to join a community coalition. They get involved. They start helping the youth in our community. And then they begin to realize that, oh, wait, all of these people are part of this cool organization that is connected globally. And they're always talking about fun things, going to the USA Canada Forum, all that type of stuff. How do I get involved? And then when they ask, like $65 is absolutely nothing to be a part of all the fun that we're having. So, you think about a dinner and a date and night out at the movies, and you're probably getting close to your membership dues these days. So just something to
Excellent answers, guys. Sue Jones has a question about they're looking to start a club on a college campus that includes staff, employees, and students. What can our hook be to address all these areas?
Alumni club. Past international director Jerome Thompson calls it a town and gown type club. We worked on one in Alabama, the University of North Alabama, and formed the Shoals Area Lions Club there. And that was a process in which it was his initial idea to reach out to local business people who had gone to that school and create almost like a Greek life fraternal sorority type of situation where you had people who are alumni of that school that would then be school boosters are already supporting. And you kind of made the pitch to the university that this is a way to potentially keep some of these bright students from sticking around in town and not leaving, the brain drain that happens in small communities. So taking that approach, I think it worked pretty well. And in that way, even if they transfer to another Lions Club when they leave, they can still come back for the alumni weekends and events like that and do a service project with their club.
We started a campus club here last year, and one of the things we did was to reach out to all the Lions in the state of Arizona to see who had grandchildren or Leos that were going to the university here. It was all university students, and they were interested in serving children, which once again was our focus with our club. And there's an organization called Higher Ground, which is a nonprofit helping schools. And so they connected with us, and we were able to do that with the students working with children in the schools. One other comment I'd make is we've managed to collect Lions by joining other organizations. For example, I joined the Rotary and met a person, joined them, and that person brought in like 8 members over the course of a couple of years. So being visible in the community is really the way to go. The only challenge for a new club is that it takes time to get, to be involved in the community. But I think that's one of the benefits of the new club moving forward. There's a number of nonprofits that raise money for grants for clubs like Lions clubs. And that's another way to go, is to show up at these places, applying for grants, join them, and then try to connect with those folks to join you once they see what you're doing.
I would add just one more piece to the hook that Sue was asking for. And having worked with some campus clubs in the past, I think what it really comes down to is these campuses are their own self-contained unit for the most part. And by the students, the faculty, and the staff all working together, it makes for a more rich environment for all parties concerned. And it reaches out then to the community beyond. So for example, at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I know that they recently put in food fridge, like fridges on the campus with snacks and food, because there's food poverty going on with some of the students on campus. Working together as a whole to be able to do those types of things becomes really important. And the campus cares, the staff, the students, and the academics care. So I don't know that, I think that the story is this is about bringing every member of campus, our entire campus together to make a difference. So I think that's really to me, that's the hook that seems to make the most sense, above and beyond what you guys said, because awesome stories, guys. Here's a question. Do new members need to be approved by the board before they can join?
Yes. If
Uh,
that's
if
what the
there's-
Constitution and bylaw says, absolutely. We have modified ours that we can actually vote via text or chat app. Because, you know, to be dynamic in recruiting and bringing in people, if you are waiting a month to your next board meeting before you can approve, and then it might be another several weeks before you can actually induct them, you're missing out on the opportunity of that person getting to be able to serve right away.
With a new club, without an existing board, hopefully you'll have some way of pre-approving people. What we found, and one of the reasons why we formed a branch, was our club only approved at board meetings, and it took 2 board meetings, and a new candidate might wait 3 or 4 months to find out whether or not they joined. And that didn't work for people. You need to be able, once a person says, here's my check and my application, you need to be able to say very rapidly that, yes, they're the kind of people we want in our club.
Amen.
Just to, Noel, do you got something to say?
He said amen. He said amen.
Amen. Absolutely. You know, just to sort of add on to that, if you are doing asset mapping and strategic recruitment of people who are already doing service within their communities, they're a known quantity. So part of the reason why it's so quick for my club to approve people, because we are approving people who are professionals in the field of serving this community that we've been recruiting. So when it's the next congresswoman from the state of Delaware who wants to join, you don't have to sit there and make them wait a week. They're a known quantity. We text to say, hey, does everybody know this person? Great. What do you think? Yes, done. And we can collect their money and induct them within 5 minutes if we have to.
So really, to recap what you both said is, first of all, I think some clubs have their full membership vote. Some clubs have the board vote. You have your own constitution and bylaws, your own way of doing things. But the reality is that people want it done now. Instantaneous everything right now is so important. So having your clubs put into place, whatever system makes sense for you, to be able to approve members as quickly as possible is key, because people don't want to wait, as these guys were just saying, weeks or a month to find out if they're going to be a member of a club. It just doesn't work that way. It
And
might have in the past.
What does it say about your club if they can't make a decision and someone's 23 years old and says, what do you mean you have to wait for a meeting? What's
Right.
going on here?
And especially, it goes back to, again, are you ready for new members that don't look and act like you? We talked about this at our first session. Do you have ways for people to make e-payments? Richard talked a lot about that during his tips. They have online application for membership and they can pay their dues and everything online. So it fits for the population that they're trying to reach. Who's your target audience? Create the system that works. So it's an important part of prepping your club and even prepping your district to be able to move forward and to be able to grow clubs and grow membership. There's been some sharing of business cards in the chat with front and backs. That's awesome, but I'm not seeing any more questions. So if there's no more questions for Richard and Daniel, other than let's just give them a giant, you guys are total rock stars. Thank you guys so much for sharing your knowledge and what you see on the streets. It's when you're actually out talking to people, it really changes your perspective as well. I'm going to let these guys go and I'm going to get ready to send you guys off to a breakout room or to your breakout rooms. But I actually was talking to a young human on Monday. The young human is 35 years younger than I am. And he is one of those spark plugs that's going to start a club, and it's probably going to be started in like 2 months at the most at the rate we're going. So finding those people and having the conversation again, I didn't start out saying this is what Lions do. I started to get to know him better and working through it so that asset-based community development, what, why, and how does work. And I tell you what, the opportunity to have those conversations, calling that person that Daniel challenged you to call that you respect and admire, having that conversation with someone you're comfortable with first helps prep you for talking to strangers. So practice, practice, practice. It doesn't take 10,000 hours to actually learn how to talk about being a lion, because you're already passionate about being a lion. So you already know all the things you need to know. You just need to put it into a package to share it. So, all right, get off my soapbox. Wendy, thank you very much. Right on target. So let's talk about your next assignment. I'm going to fair warn you again that you will be making a report at the beginning of the next meeting to give us an update on where your district is with your progress on starting new clubs and putting the assets in place that you need to be successful. So we're going to send you into breakout rooms for about 10-ish minutes here in a moment. And your job this time is really to talk about the marketing for this new club. These new clubs that you have in the hopper that you're working on, what are you going to do? How are you going to market them? Who's going to be in charge? Do you have a person that can step forward and take care of creating that website if you decide to create a website, or those social media channels, getting out on Nextdoor and having the conversations and monitoring? Who's going to be your marketing lead? Likely you're going to want a different one for each club because of the workload. Just something to consider. What is your general marketing plan? How are you looking at this? There's a chartering a new club checklist that we shared with you last week. It's also in the shared folder that of materials that's got a whole bunch of information about marketing and a list of checklists for the marketing area. But talk about other things. What about guerrilla marketing? Marketing outside of the norm, not an ad that you'd buy in a newspaper, not a poster. Like I said earlier, sidewalk chalk. Having a pop-up event where you have a crazy dance thing go on in the middle of downtown, whatever it might be, doesn't cost a lot, but gets you attention and brings people to you so you can talk about what it means to be a Lion. Additionally, as you're talking about this, there could be costs involved. If you decide you're going to do advertising, if you decide you're going to print flyers, where are those funds going to come from? Is this something the district has put money aside to help start clubs? Is this something you expect from the sponsoring entity, the club, the zone, or whomever it might be? Having those conversations now and putting those plans in place is important. And then talk about how you're going to create new club email addresses, what you're going to do there, which social accounts you need for each of the clubs. You know, is it a young professionals club? So you're going to focus on LinkedIn and Instagram. Is it a general purpose club and you just want to be on Facebook, whatever it might be? And then get those electronic payments in place. What does that mean at your district? How is that going to work? Because that is all part of the marketing of this club and bringing this club into place. Those plans are going to be due to your either Judy in Wisconsin or Noel in Kentucky by October 6th. It's a few days before the next time we get together. So we're going to send you into a breakout room for about 10 minutes here to have this discussion and talk about where you go from here. Just like last time, odds are you're not going to get through all of this because it's a lot. So before you leave the breakout room, make sure you make a plan to how you're going to meet or when you're going to meet so you can go ahead and finalize this once you are on your own and not in this session. So I'm sending you off for 10 minutes. We'll bring you back for a quick wrap up and we will be good to go. All right. See you back in 10, guys. It looks like Danielle's not going. Danielle Reynolds, I'm going to ask you to unmute here in a second to find out which district you are from. Danielle, which district are you from?
27E1.
27A1. I'm sending you off. Ed is also from A1, I know, so I'll send him over there. Ed Cerny, I should know where you're from, but I don't know that I remember. So I need your help. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
E1.
E is an elephant. I'm sending it over to E1. Excellent. There is someone on the phone. If you're able to unmute, if you can let me know which district you're with, I'll send you off to a breakout room to talk with them. Ow. Thank you, Tracy.
I always forget.
I am the queen of not forgetting, and I never ever, and with all the calls I do and everything, you'd think I'd actually remember it every now and again, but yes. Wendy, I'm actually gonna actually share a different screen because I know there was questions about tomorrow night's launch for the apps. And so what I have for you is this is the post that's all over our social medias. If I can get this to share. is all over social media for us, for Lions Virtual. I also am dropping in the chat. It should be going in the chat right now. Well, why didn't it copy the links? Oh, for goodness sakes. Hold on, ignore that last thing. One day we'll learn how to use the chat as well. Let me drop this in the chat. It's not recording the links. What the what? I've never had it do this. The registration for tomorrow night is in the window right now. And the live recordings will be available. That's a live event to register for tomorrow night. It's at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. After the fact, if you can't make it tomorrow night, we will have the recording up on our YouTube channel for Lions Virtual as soon as we can after the event is done. So you can check out Lions Virtual YouTube channel for that information. If you have a phone in your hand or near you, you can take a picture, open up your camera app, and point it at the QR code on the screen, and a link should come up that should take you right to the registration, if you'd like to do it that way as well. You can see why we're excited about these apps, because it changes everything. It makes it much easier for all of us to be able to use this fantastic technology of AI to get the job done, and all the heavy lifting is done for you. You just have to know where you're trying to start a club. So with that, I'm going to switch back off and give Wendy the opportunity to share one last slide, because I do want to make sure that you're aware of where all of these videos are living. So we've been sharing a lot of recordings with you throughout the first two sessions, and there's more to come. You will find them on the US Lions Rock YouTube channel. And Richard, I don't know if you can drop that into the chat window for me, but the US Lions Rock YouTube channel, we're adding videos all the time, recording more videos. And I believe I mentioned this last time as well. If you have a success story for recruiting, like recruiting tips or starting a club, please reach out to me at lionjody@gmail.com. We're trying to build this library of different people's perspectives and the different ways people are using the tips and tricks and things to share, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So if you have a story that you'd like to share, potentially share, please reach out to me at lionjody@gmail.com. The US Lions Rock, I can get to that here in a second here for you on the YouTube channel. Oh, I'm right here. Here is the resource. And yes, please do subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, it doesn't cost you anything. And I'm going to take over the screen share again. If you subscribe to the channel, it does not cost you anything. It's free. And to subscribe, you literally, once you subscribe, there's a down arrow on the right-hand side, there's a little carrot. You click all, and that will give you a notification every time a new video is posted on the site. So you'll just get a notification that says, hey, there's a new video from US Lions Rock, and you can go check it out anytime.
We're seeing your graphics program.
You're seeing what?
Your graphics program.
Huh. Graphics program. Wow, I'm really talented. Wow, you're looking at Adobe InDesign. Welcome to Design World, people. It is only Monday, right? It sure feels like no, Wednesday. Oh, for God's sakes. Anyways, here is the US Lions. Are you seeing US Lions Rock now?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Congratulations, Jody figured out how to share a screen. All right, so this has got all of the recordings that you've seen so far, plus some others that are coming up next week or at our next session. So you can access them. The recordings from these sessions are there as well. You can access them 24/7, and you can share them far and wide. Use them however you'd like at your upcoming meetings to inspire, get people talking about membership and how they can grow and be fired up to make a difference in our association. With that, it's 9:01. We're coming back in 2 weeks for session 3. We will again have a district report out, and all the districts will do a report on where they're at, how things are going, and any challenges or opportunities they'd like to share with us. We're going to talk about formation meetings, what those look like. We're going to talk about what the club application process looks like, then how you actually launch the club. And then we're going to share a whole bunch of success stories with you all that hopefully will inspire you and open your eyes to other ways of thinking that you may or may not have seen in the past. With that, thank you guys. Thank you for being here, spending the time, investing the time in our association to make us grow, make Lions cool again, make it so we can be here to serve 1 billion people by the end of 2027. June 2027 is not far away. We have the ability. We need more members to make a difference. We need more members to be fired up and look at the ways to serve their communities. So share what we talked about with asset-based community development. Talk to people about how to recruit members and work on from there. So we'll see you all in 2 weeks.